Yes, students, good morning. So we are going to start the story An Angel in Disguise. Okay. Before starting, you should know about the meaning of an angel. Who is called as an angel? You have seen angel? Movie or drama, something angel. White dress and all. That is angel. What is the meaning of disguise? Yes, something to be changed. Like you are wearing, you are a girl. Okay, you are wearing full girl's dress up and you are disguised to be a boy. It means your getup will be like a boy. If you remember Merchant of Venice, Jessica was disguised as a page boy. So that is the meaning of disguise, to change from one being to other. So here the story name is An Angel in Disguise. An angel in disguise means a human being who has or who is in a form of an angel, but that angel is a human. And how can you call a human an angel? How you can say that she is really an angel? Only by the look? No. By the behavior, by the nature, by the character what that person is having. You call me from inside Ikamu, she is just like an angel. The patience, whatever the good qualities we see. So here in this story by T.S. Arthur, he usually writes the story with something giving a moral value. Something which gives us something like very compassion, sensitive kind of stories he used to write. Here the characters are these: John, Kate and little Maggie. Now this Maggie is a girl and she is the, you can call her, she is the main character of this story. And she is only known as an angel. Okay? And these two, John and Kate, is the siblings of Maggie. Siblings of Maggie. John was almost 12 years age. Kate was between 10 to 11. So we make her 11 years. And little Maggie, she was very young. Her age is not mentioned. She was very young girl. And these two characters, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Thompson, they are husband and wife who are having no issue. Issue means children. They are not having any children. Okay? The next scene you will see the villagers are there who stays where these children are staying. Okay, there the villagers are there. And what happened that these three children, their mother died. Okay, mother expired because mother was used to work and all, but she was a big drunkard. And out of that drinking a lot, one day she fell out near the house and she died. And the villagers didn't like their mother. They used to hate her because her habit, the nature, always used to drink and behave very rubbishly. So the villagers used to hate. But when she died, they all were worried about these three children. What will happen to them? And the main thing what was that, out of these three children, Maggie was a handicapped child. Maggie was handicapped. She was like not handicapped from childhood, from the birth, but she had a fall. From the window she had a fall and she lost her that tailbone, that problem she faced, and she couldn't stand and walk. She was almost on the bed. She was a bedridden girl. So all were worried what will happen to them, especially for Maggie. So they all decided that what we should do. So two people came forward to adopt John and Kate. There was a farmer whose name was Jones. He said, I will adopt John because John was a 12-year-old boy. He can do the work, he can help him in farming. So with the mental stability, he adopted John. Mrs. Alice adopted Kate because Kate was a very wise girl. And she will do something in her life, she will explore and it will be useful for Mrs. Alice. So she adopted Kate. But no one in the village were ready to adopt Maggie. Why? Because she was useless. She was on the bed. And who will adopt a bedridden child? So they were not ready. And these two were showing that they had done a very great work. But what great work. They have adopted these two kids only out of the benefit that they are useful, they are good, they will help us. But they left Maggie all alone in that poor house. That was a poor house, means that was a hovel, a hut. In that they left. And then this Mr. Joe Thompson in the story, he is a very nice character, very sympathetic, very loving, and he used to love children. Because he was not having children, he used to love them. And he was not knowing what to do with this little Maggie. And they were knowing each other, so little Maggie was asking for help. And finally Mr. Joe Thompson took her with him. But his wife was very, like what you can say, very stubborn kind of lady. Very cruel and very stubborn. She was not interested in anyone else. So she was not having any children. So now no love for children also. So she was getting irritated seeing the husband brought an handicapped child. That is of no use. So then finally, how this little Maggie changed their behavior. That way when you will see in the story how this little Maggie brought happiness in the life of Mr. and Mrs. Joe. That is why the author reflected that she is not just a human being, she is an angel in disguise. She is a real angel, because only good people or angel only brings happiness in life. And she brought happiness to the life of these people where the lady was so stubborn. She used to never love children, but patiently Maggie bore everything, whatever Mrs. Joe said, and she finally brought love in their life. And this way the story continues. So let us start it. It starts like this: idleness, vice and intemperance. Intemperance means drunkenness. Had done their miserable work, and the dead mother lay cold and still amid her wretched children. Wretched means the children who were of no use. So idleness, vice and intemperance means the lady who was really of no use. She was fully drunk. She used to do all kind of miserable work, and finally she was lying dead, cold and still in front of her children. She had fallen upon the threshold of her own door in a drunken fit, died in the presence of her frightened little ones. She died of her own problem. She used to drink, it was too much and she couldn't be, and she in front of her house only, the doorstep, she fell down and she died in front of her frightened children. Frightened children, why this word used? Because they were small. And they were really shocked because no one else, only mother was there. So they were not knowing now mother is no more, what we will do. Not that much age also. Elder was only 12. 12 is not so great age to manage everything. So they were all frightened. Death touches the spring of our common humanity. Now he's saying death is what? It can come to anyone. It's a common thing. We never expect it, but it comes. It is like truth, a very bitter truth of life that one day we all have to die. This woman had been despised. Despised means she was disliked by all. Scoffed. Scoffed means she was mocked. Mocked at and angrily denounced. Denounced means criticized by nearly every man, woman and child in the village. Means all the people in the village used to dislike her, used to mock at her, means used to make fun of her, and used to criticize her because of her nature. It means no one in the village used to like her. But now, as the fact of her death was passed from lip to lip in subdued tones, pity took the place of anger and sorrow of denunciation. Now what happened? When the villagers came to know that she is no more, then what happened? They were having pity. Now anger went down. They were angry from this lady, but they were feeling pity, not for this lady. For whom? For the children. And they were feeling sorrowful for the denunciation. Now what will they are left orphan? Now what will happen to them? Neighbors went hastily to the old tumble down hut, in which she had secured little more than a place of shelter from summer heats and winter cold. Like what kind of house she was staying, it was not even called as a house. It was a hut. only a small shed where she can be safe from winter, from summer, from rain. You can see slum areas, how the people only make something like from bamboo and all, and they try to set themselves safe from all the problems. That way a small hut was there. Then, some with grave clothes for a decent interment of the body, and some with food for the half-starving children, 3 in number. How the villagers went? Some went with the cloth. That lady is dead. She had to put some cloth on her body. Some went with the food. The children are maybe hungry. They need something. So villagers manage anyhow. Of these, John, the oldest, a boy of 12. Now first the author is telling about John, who was 12 years age, was a stout lad. Lad means boy. He was a stout boy, able to earn his living with any farmer. He used to know farming. So if any farmer will be there, he can earn his living. He can survive. I mean, John can survive. Kate, between 10 and 11, was bright, active girl, out of whom something clever might be made. Now second, the author is telling about Kate. Kate was a very bright girl, very active, and if someone will be there to guide her, she can bring out the best from her. Means she is very intelligent kind of girl and she can do best. If in good hands, but poor little Maggie, the youngest, was hopelessly diseased. But what about this Maggie? She was diseased. She was of no use. 2 years before, a fall from a window had injured her spine, and she had not been able to leave her bed since, except when lifted in the arms of her mother. Now what happened? She spine problem, and from 2 years back she was not able to get up. Only how she used to get up? When her mother used to carry her. No way else. So she was only hopelessly deceased. What is to be done with the children? That was the chief question now. Now all the villagers, now you know, villagers or any kind of people, when something happened, they all have discussion. What will happen? There are lot more discussion. The villagers were discussing now what to be done with the children. Who will take care? The dead mother would go underground and be forever beyond all care or concern of the villager. Underground means she will be buried. She will be buried. She is dead. Now, but the children must not be left to starve. After considering the matter and talking it over with his wife, Farmer Jones said that he would take John. Now finally, after the consideration, Farmer Jones said that he will adopt John. He will take John and do well by him now that his mother was out of the room. They were showing sympathy that he is taking him out of the sympathy, but actually he was taking him by because John was knowing farming and it will be useful for Joe. Now, second one. Mrs. Alice, who had been looking out for a bound girl, concluded that it would be charitable in her to make choice of Catty. Kate is also called as Catty. A question can come. Don't get confused. Instead of Kate, it comes Catty. Both same person. Even though she was too young to be of much use for several years. Now see Mrs. Alice's description. She said, I will take Kate, she is bound, but I am going to do a charitable work. I am doing a charity because her mother is no more. But actually, she took her because she was intelligent, clever, and definitely she will be useful for Mrs. Alice. But both these people didn't do any charity. They only took them out of selfishness. That these children will be benefited for them. They will be beneficial for them. Otherwise, if there was charity, they would have adopted Maggie also. What is if you are doing the charity? Why adopted the best one who were so well equipped? So they were saying it's a charity, but actually it was not a charity. I could do much better, I know, said Mrs. Alice, but as no one seems inclined to take her, I must act from a sense of duty, expect to have trouble with the child, for she is an undisciplined thing, used to having her own way. Now see Mrs. Alice what she said. I am just doing a good thing, sake of goodness. But actually Kate is very indisciplined. Kate is not at all a disciplined girl. She wanted to show the people that she is not at all good, very indisciplined, she is not knowing anything. I am just doing my duty because no one is ready to adopt her. So I am just taking her. But actually it was not the duty or out of love, it was only out of her work, out of the selfishness. But no one said, I will take Maggie. But no one, no, not a single villager said that we will adopt Maggie. Pitying glances were cast on her worn and wasted form, and thoughts were troubled on her account. She was not knowing what to do. She was watching everything, but on the bed, not knowing what to do. Mothers brought cast-off garments and, removing her soiled and ragged clothes, dressed her in clean attire. The sad eyes and patient face of the little one touched many hearts, and even knocked at them for entrance, but none opened to take her in. Now saying the Maggie's eyes, the way like someone take me also, the pity look made everyone sad, made everyone to feel something, but still no one were ready to take her. Who wanted a bedridden child? That was the question. People said, who will take the bedridden child? What benefit? It means all were seeing what? Benefit out of everyone. And in this world, no one does the work out of benefit. Means out of just like a normal way. Everyone does the work out of benefit. If you are going to get a benefit, you are going to accept our parents. Only parents and children relation is that. No benefit they see. But if someone else is taking care of you, definitely they will see the benefit. Take her to the poor house, said a rough man, of whom the question, what's to be done with Maggie? A very common man in the village, he said, take her to the poor house. Nobody is going to be bothered with her. The poor house is a sad place for a sick and helpless child, answered one. What is a poor house? One man said, take her to the poor house. Now the question also comes, what is a poor house? So poor house is a place where the sick people or helpless child, these people are kept there. Like you can say now, old people, it is old age home, children orphanage, like that kind of thing is poor house. For your child or mine, said the other, lightly speaking, but for this brat it will prove a blessed change. She will be kept clean, have healthy food, and be doctored, which is more than can be said of a past condition. The villagers said, not for our children, but for her. She is of who is going to take care. And there she will be taken care, she will be given food, she will be kept clean. Doctors are also there, and she will be happily nurtured. There was a reason in that, but still it didn't satisfy. The day following the day of death was made the day of burial. Now after the day of death, the next day was the burial. A few neighbors were at the miserable hovel. Hovel is again that hut. But none followed dead cart as it bore the unhonored remains to its pauper grave. Like what happened? The lady's burial ceremony was taking place. Not many people followed it because they all hated her. And they called it as an unhonored because she was a drunken lady. She used to do all kind of bad things. So no one liked her. And no one even wanted to take her body to the graveyard. Farmer John, after the coffin was taken out, placed John in his wagon, drove away. Suddenly after the burial over, Farmer John took John, kept him in the wagon and he went. Satisfied that he had done his part, Mrs. Alice spoke to Kate with a hurried air, bid your sister goodbye, and drew the tearful children apart ere scarcely their lips had touched in a sobbing farewell. Mrs. Alice also told Kate, say farewell to your sister and come. Hastily others went out, some glancing at Maggie and some resolutely refraining from a look, until all had gone. Now see the villagers. They did their work, they looked at Maggie, all were looking at her very sadly, but no one even taken care of her. They all slowly went away. All were going and Maggie was all alone. She was alone. Just beyond the threshold, Joe Thompson, the wheelwright, paused and said to the blacksmith's wife, who was hastening off with the rest, it's a cruel thing to leave her so. Now the entry of Mr. Joe Thompson took place. He was also there, he came. He said, it's very sad, so cruel to leave this little girl who is bedridden here. Then take her to the poorhouse, she will have to go there, answered the blacksmith wife, springing away and leaving Joe behind. He said, if you are so much interested, she said, take her to the poorhouse. She will be safe here. Now what else to do? For a little while the man stood with a puzzled air, then he turned back and went into the hovel again. Joe was really confused what these people are saying, and he was feeling sad for her. Really, he was feeling sad. He went inside the hut. Maggie, with painful effort, had raised herself to an upright position, was sitting on the bed, straining her eyes upon the door out of which all had just departed. A vague terror had come into her thin white face. Now Maggie was really frightened. She anyhow adjusted herself to sit, giving the support, and she was looking towards the door. And she saw slowly all are departing, all are going. And her face was getting so like frightened. She was not knowing now how I am going to survive. Oh, Mr. Thompson, she cried out, catching her suspended breath. Don't leave me here all alone. She saw Mr. Thompson coming. He said, oh, Mr. Thompson, don't leave me here all alone. Though rough in exterior, Joe Thompson, the wheelwright, had a heart, and it was very tender in some places. Joe was a wheelwright. He used to work in the garage and with the vehicles and all, but he has a very smooth heart. He liked children and was pleased to have them come to his shop, where sleds and wagons were made or mended for the village lads without a draft on their hoarded sixpences. He used to never hate children. In his shop also, when the children used to come, he used to leave them. You can enjoy, you can do anything. So he had a very soft corner for children. No, dear, he answered in a kind voice, going to the bed and stooping down over the child. He went to the bed, near the bed, and said, no, dear, means I am not going to leave you. You shan't be left here alone. He said, you are not going to be here alone. Then he wrapped her with the gentleness almost of a woman in the clean bed clothes which some neighbor had brought. What he did? There was a clean bed cloth there, neighbors had brought. He wrapped her like a mother does, no? Usually this kind of habit is of whom? A mother, a woman with a love. With that same love and care, Mr. Joe Thompson wrapped Maggie in the cloth. Then, in the clean bed clothes which some neighbor had brought, lifting her in his strong arms, bore her out into the air and across the field that lay between the hovel and his home. And what he did? He just carried her in that wrapped cloth, and then he was going to take her to his house, which is between these places. His house is a little far away, and he understood, now I cannot leave her here alone. She is all alone. What she will do? Bedridden person. So he carried her with the woman gentleness. The word is used. Women gentleness. He carried her, and then he was going to take her to his house. Is much clear? Next we will do in the next class. Okay? Thank you.